Hey, welcome to Substandard Roleplaying. My name is Lawrence,
And I am eagerly anticipating William.
and we are playing Desolation with KC. KC, go ahead.
I am Casey, otherwise known as the Questing GM on YouTube, and I'm playing Desolation with these guys.
Taffy, you want to tell us a little bit about this game?
First, I've been meaning to bring this one up with KC. Like in my introduction to role playing, I found Questing GM on YouTube. I was like, oh, this guy knows his stuff. And then it's like, oh, I'll play Star Trek with Anthony. And I saw you, and I was just like, oh, it's the YouTube man. So that was quite cool for me. Desolation is not your everyday modern role-playing game because life sucks. Life is hard. It's classic old school revival. There's magic, there's swords, but there's not a lot of magic, and the swords are hard to come by themselves. And we have two plucky adventurers who have decided to try and brave this hostile world where they are not the descendants of people who survived the apocalypse. They are not people surviving the apocalypse. They have survived the apocalypse, but they still bear the scars 2 years later. And whatever legacy they plan to carve out for themselves, we'll see.
Excellent. And I guess,
Dramatic.
whoa. I guess we can get started. I made a character. My name is Maximus Merriweather, and I'm a human. My archetype is outdoorsman, and we're Ascondian, right? Both of us.
Of
Right,
Ascondian
Casey?
descent.
Yeah. Cool. Casey,
In
who
case
did
you
you
with
make?
your thingy.
Well, I'm playing as a scoundrel, an archetype scoundrel. We are humans as Scondian, and I go by the name of Tejas. So he is gonna be, I guess, he's gonna be like a scoundrel's Han Solo type in a world, that's been destroyed by magic.
Everybody wants to be Han Solo. Everybody.
It's cool.
Yeah.
It's cool. You get to call the shots. You get to take some shots.
You get to get the girl. I understand.
You have a big hairy friend.
Exactly.
What's not to like?
Big hairy friend right here.
Big hairy friend right there. That's right.
my
Yeah,
role. I understand
that is your role.
now.
Yeah. That's why your guy's so big and burly. You are Chewbacca to the Han Solo.
Awesome.
Yeah, we made it. Without a loop this time.
Now we just have to find your crossbow.
I am kind of ranger. I'm type like a ranger, so I actually have a bow. Actually, not a crossbow, but close enough, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, and thinking about that, for anyone that watches or cares and really cares about role playing, I started jamming 3.5, and I'm trying my absolute bestest to not be a D&D game master. So it's going to be a bit awkward in some places where I really feel like, why aren't there goblins attacking you now? Why aren't you finding gold pieces? But we'll get through this together.
Yep.
We'll try.
We'll try. And as first act, you guys get 1 experience point for attending the session.
Ah,
Yay.
Excellent! Wow,
Yeah,
experience already.
This is in the book, and to entice Dave to come join us next week.
Well, if you want to entice Dave to come join us next week, our friend Dave, by the way, is a Twitch streamer, but you need to give us 10 experience points. That would be much
10.
better.
It would be great, but I don't want you buffing your skills that quickly.
Aw.
All of a
All
sudden,
right.
your average dice roll becomes a 7.
All right, so you ready?
I'm ready. Are
Cool.
you ready?
Let's start it.
Okay, so here's the situation as it stands. You made it through as the Night of Fire and all the horrors that took place happened. You survived, but you have lost a lot. And the trauma that comes with that took you into the frozen period that came after, where the land was somehow even more inhospitable than when everything just fell apart and the stars became deadly laser beams. And during the events of the thaw, what happened was you managed to both get picked up by the remnant of a traveling legion of an old empire who, for the most part, takes care of basic needs, and everyone fulfills their part by going on scouting missions to collect artifacts, to collect knowledge, to get resources, that sort of thing. And where you find yourselves at the moment is in a sort of like in like a carved out valley of a mountain range where you can imagine like some kind of torrential cone of fire just like clean through the mountain. It's got very slippery, glassy slopes, and you've set up camp with sort of like a third detachment, and the rest have gone on ahead, following a map with waystones that promise some kind of security if the man you are tasked to deal with today has actually told the truth. So it was a hot rain the night before, as you've gotten used to. Each raindrop practically boiling
Oh
hot.
crap! So basically, boiling raindrops. That's what you're telling
Basically,
me.
boiling raindrops as
Ooh.
the weather has violently turned against all living beings, it seems. So as everyone kind of gets up, awakens, fires start getting stoked back, animals are being tended to that weren't brought under cover, mostly being slaughtered for food. The ones that didn't make it, partially cooked, partially stewed in
Yeah, already
puddles.
partially cooked
Mhm.
because of the scalding water.
Yeah,
The scalding rain. Excellent.
at least they're half cured for leather.
Mm.
So that's fortunate enough for you. In like the steamy, humid haze, you're
Mhm.
making your way towards a tent that houses a man known as Zarenclough.
Zarin Cloth, did you say?
Yeah,
Okay.
Zarenclough.
Is he our commander or something? Is he the person in charge?
He is indeed the person in charge right now. He is he's one of like the major players that has kind of gotten there through order of succession, as far as you know. Like people have died, he's stepped up to the plate. Not a very ruthless man, but a very cold man.
Okay. And I'm guessing we're going there in order to get our orders for the day or something?
Right.
Okay.
So
We will, I guess, it's just the two of us, right?
yeah.
Okay, so, I mean, right now, I guess there's nothing to do except for stepping into the tent and
Sure.
seeing what he needs us to do.
So walking into the flap, he's already writing down in a journal his log, and he sharply turns around and then stands up, says, "You are here to report."
Aye, sir. We're reporting in for the day.
Yes, sir.
And tell me, how did you fare the night?
Um, well, despite the scalding rain, I suppose we survived, so what more can we ask for?
What more could we ask for, indeed? So, here's what I need you two to do for me. There's a man named Grum. Grum has a map and a journal. He claims that this map is the key to finding a library. It is known as the Library of Balestria, and in it is housed rudimentary knowledge for artisans. sort of like an academy, if you will, from the old days. Your job is to scout out, fill in the holes in the map, and report back, alive, preferably.
Aye, sir.
So we are tracking this man down, or are we already have his map and journal?
He is already in our custody. He is
Right.
prison. We have sort of made him our prisoner. He is not to go with you, but you are to extract the information you can from him. You go alone.
Right.
Understood. Where's this Grum right now?
He is in a bit of a you've like gone on a back and forth walk here. So it's like gone to the commander's tent to report in, get your orders, and now you're heading back to the pen where the animals are.
Oh, that's where he is?
Yeah.
Great.
The
Right.
pen.
Yeah,
I
there's
hope it was covered by the rain.
So
So a little bit of torture, basically, is what we just did to him. We left him out in
Yeah.
the rain to be tortured.
yeah, so with the makeshift like pen shelter, you've like just put in a wire fence with like wooden slat overhangs,
Mhm.
and you've tied him up and kicked him underneath to say, stay here. And when you get to him, he is covered in mud and also covered in red welts from the water dripping through the wooden slats above him. And he seems quite foggy. He's very stunned and dazed.
Okay.
He's not quite asleep, but not quite awake.
I'm assuming we have. You said we had his map, right?
Correct.
Did the, I guess, the commander in charge give us this map? Like, do we have a little bit of knowledge of what the area is like?
The little bit of knowledge that you have is outside of this valley, there's a goat's path that you follow to get into it.
Mm-hmm.
And on the other side, there's arid, like temperate forest, I could almost say. That's a bit of a what's the word I'm looking for? Contradiction. But that's just how it seems to be. Dead grass underneath with lush trees.
Right. Okay.
And there's no real defined roads. You just kind of happened upon here to try and get cover from whatever storm was coming.
Right.
And this was just discovered.
Okay. So, in his map, it does not show us the location of this library, and we have to get this information from him.
Right.
Okay. I mean, classic bad cop, good cop.
We could start with a nice cold bucket of water, if we have one.
You could.
Isn't
You
water
definitely
like a
have some.
very scarce resource at this point, or something?
Well, you do have tepid latrine water.
Ah, okay, sure. We'll piss on it.
I guess that works. Anything to cool him off, I guess would work.
Yeah. Although urine, I believe, is not cool. But anyway, I'll just
Okay.
slap him awake.
Just slap. You're just going to march over to him and slap him.
Routine first, then.
Not like a hard like slap. It's just
Well, yeah, no,
a soft tap, basically.
Sure. Like a wakey wakey.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so you, I'm assuming like you kind of just march over to him with purpose,
Yeah, sure.
and like sort of half kicking chickens out of your way, and you lean over this man who smells of dirt, a little bit of blood, and other excrement. He's not a he hasn't bathed, and you give him some gentle taps, saying,
"Wake up." I don't have a lot of charisma, actually.
That's okay.
So I feel that my character is more the direct to the point type of person. So yeah, he's just gonna go with "wake up" and now.
Okay. And he's going to say, Grum hears and Grum obeys. and he just kind of like sighs.
He is
And
awake.
he
Yes.
is awake and he's trying to sit up, but it's really hard for him, being all bound up.
Okay. I will help him right himself,
Hmm.
and then I'll slap him again so that he falls down, and then we'll keep doing this until he makes sense. You
Okay.
awake yet? Bam!
And he's gonna roll onto his back and say, "Yes, yes, I am awake.
Good.
I will speak the truth."
We're
He's been-
looking
Mhm.
for this library of Balestra, and you are going to tell us where it is right now.
And he kind of squints at you and says, "The Library of Balestra has violated the law of concrete. I will not take you there." And he turns away.
I'll just slap him again and say, "You don't have to go. We're going for you. You just have to tell us where it is."
And he says, "It is away from here. If you follow the land and you listen to the whispers, I'm sure you'll find it yourselves. That's how I found it."
I'm not sure that he's scared enough. So we're gonna start this bad cop routine. I'm gonna start punching. Or can I roll intimidation?
Yes, please do.
Okay, and I'm going to roll intimidation, and I guess this is me punching the living life, or not the living life out of him, but
But
basically punching him hard enough so that he knows I freaking mean business.
right, getting the attitude out of him.
Right. What do you want me to roll here, Tef? You want to go with D4s, D6s, and how many would you like me to roll?
I suppose it doesn't really matter. D6s are cool
Yeah,
Okay.
it
because I've
doesn't
got
matter.
like physical D6s here.
Sure. And I have a rating of 5 for
You have
my
a rating of
intimidation.
That's-
5. Okay.
That's 5 dice.
5 dice. 1, 2, 3, 4,
That's
5.
your base, unless
Yeah.
you want to use any style points.
No, I'm okay with style points right now. If
Reminding me of style points, I am going to give you a style point for this being like what your character is about, really.
Yeah, I mean, he's direct. He's to the point. I think he will fix the problem in the most direct, blunt way possible.
And this
basically.
is with the blunt end of your fist.
Yeah, pretty much. Okay, so you guys can see the roller, yes?
Yeah.
Okay,
This is going to be really easy because he's bound. Technically, you should just automatically succeed.
Okay.
But let's roll anyway for fun.
It's the even numbers that are the
The
successes,
even
right?
numbers succeed, yeah.
So I got a 2, a 2, and a 4. So I got 3
Cool.
successes here.
So you have one extra success over what you needed.
Excellent.
Okay, so you have managed to punch him into obedience,
Ah, excellent.
and with your extra, like you can sense when a man has been defeated,
Mhm.
and he knows he doesn't have a leg to stand on at the moment. So with your extra success,
Mhm.
what position would you like to be in with him?
Oh, he's frightened of me. But I've done it in a way so that I've not hurt his mental faculties. You know what I'm saying? It's not like
Right, you haven't.
I've not punched him
You
into
haven't
oblivion.
traumatized
He's
him.
not lost any brain cells, right?
Right, you haven't
Most
like
of
shook his brain.
right, exactly. Most of it is body shots, and he's like he's scared of me.
Right, so like
and-
you hooked him in the kidney
right.
whenever he turned around.
Absolutely willing to do whatever I want him to do.
Mhm.
Right.
Right.
Okay, so at this point, I'm going to try. I'm going to go behind him and mention to, or I guess indicate to. What was your name again, Casey? Sorry.
Aegis.
Aegis, right?
Aegis.
Aegis.
Cajus. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to mention or motion to him to take over and do the good cop thing. at this point.
So I kneel down onto his eye level, and I say, "So that hurt a lot, didn't it? We can make this a lot easier and without hurting yourself." So I, so I take out the map. I take out the map. I unfold it in front of him, and say, "We just need to find a library, and we just need to know how to get there." You
Right.
talk about whispers. What do you mean whispers?
So he tells you need a key from his journal.
And I pull out the journal,
Right.
and I say, "What key?"
And so he directs you to the back cover, and when you flip to the back cover, there is a legend that he's marked down of symbols that define like structure, danger, anything, any like landmarks that you could use to navigate by. And he tells you need to add something for him. You need to draw an amorphous shape, like a water drop, hitting the page. Says this is very important for unlocking your knowledge. It's sounding a little bit arcane.
Right. And I like, do I find like a pencil or something around?
You don't have a pencil
Oh, no,
around,
like
but
a
you could like just do it.
piece of
Like,
charcoal.
You could
you could
take
probably
it from
pick up
his
a piece of
blood.
charcoal, take it from his blood, like a bit of dirt from the ground.
Yeah, exactly. You can just take your finger and.
I'm not gonna take a latrine water just to smudge the page.
Well, I mean,
I
dirt
guess
will do.
mud will do. Yeah, I guess mud will do for now.
Sure.
So I'm trying to like draw as he indicates onto the page of the legend.
Right. So it's like a row of symbols with like annotations next to them,
Right.
and he makes you do it like at the bottom of the list.
Right.
And then he says, "Good. Now remember, that's the library. Now show me the map again. Hold it up for me."
And I hold them side by side, journal
Mhm.
and map.
And then he's gonna sort of squint, take a deep breath. He's gonna lean back and spit on the map. And he says, "There is your temple. There is your library."
Okay.
Now please allow Grum to sleep.
I look at the map and then I look at Maximus. Show him a little respect.
More punching. Oh, I'll put you to sleep, all right. Bam.
So you're just gonna like smack him out.
Yeah, probably.
Okay. Good
All
We
night,
have no
Grum.
longer we have no use for him now, right? He's told us the location of the temple.
Mm-hmm.
Probably,
I have
maybe told us
a
the location of the temple. If he has not, then we will come back and interrogate him further.
And we'll get that information anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just a little curious though. Throughout the whole process, could I make some sort of empathy check just to check like
If he's telling
what
the truth.
Oh, yeah.
mental state he's in and what emotional state he's in?
Oh yeah, you can definitely do that.
All right. So my rolls.
I'm still not 100% with like what skills there are. So if you have any
Right.
ideas to ever do anything, just bring it up.
Okay. Do I know roughly a difficulty for this?
This is gonna be average. He's a prisoner. He's alone.
Average being 3.
Average being 2.
2.
I'm pretty sure
All
it's
right.
2. Let me double check.
I haven't got the
Yeah,
table
average
list
is
of
2.
it. All right.
Average is
So
2
here's what I'm
successes.
gonna do. I'm gonna take my average roll, which
Yeah.
is my rating is 7. So
Oh,
my
yeah.
average of that would be 3+. So I don't
Yeah.
think I need to roll for that
Oh
because
no,
it's
you
more
don't
than
need
2
to roll for
already.
that one.
Yeah.
So the state of mind, you can believe that even though he wasn't cooking in a tent like you were last night, he would have been severely uncomfortable. So he's probably just like deranged from a little bit like deranged and belligerent from being tired and being so like hot and injured by the scalding water. Other
Right.
than that, he didn't seem like he was messing with you. especially after the kidney shots. You could see
Right.
like his shoulders dropping and like the fight leaving him.
Okay, so we're pretty sure that he's telling the truth then, basically is what you're telling us.
Right, and he has no illusions that he wouldn't get more if he was screwing with you.
Okay.
So he's being quite literal in a sense.
Yeah, in a sense. And with like retrospective empathy, you kind of think, well, it's a bit hard for him to show us with his hands bound. So he did what he could.
That's fair. That's fair. I just think that we might get him to be more cooperative if he was a lot more comfortable than where he is right now. I'm just suggesting that to Maximus. Like,
and then
we can
I'll
do
ask-
it the hard way, but it's not going to be helpful.
we have no longer any use for him. He just.
Well, do
What
you
other
trust?
information do we need?
I mean,
from him?
I'll show you the map, and I'll say like, do you think you can find your way around this? Like with all this annotations and legends.
With the land being changed so much, nothing is for certain. But in another life, I was a ranger, so it is possible. I'll take a look at it, and I'll get as far as I can. Who knows?
Right.
I'll
I'm
try
just
my
a
best,
little.
though.
I'm just a little worried about getting to the keys, and for all we know, there could be another weird set of puzzles there or riddles for us to figure out.
Well, I don't believe we have authorization to bring him with us. So if there is
Yeah,
a puzzle there, we're gonna have to figure it out
we'll have to figure out
anyway.
ourselves then. Well, we'll have to have a try and see then, I guess.
Right. Let's be off. So,
Okay.
I plan on just leaving Grum in the pens as he is right now. I don't plan on
Yeah.
helping him out at all. I
I
don't
mean,
know
you
if
don't-
you're gonna do
I don't
something
think the
different.
cap is in any disposition to be helpful towards him.
I think I'd be just. I just
And
keep
neither
going
are
on.
we. I mean, like we are not in a position to really help him either. So
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
It's not like we can put him in like someone's barracks or in a tent. I'm sure nobody's gonna do that for a prisoner anyway. So, right?
yeah, he's more of a prisoner than a hostage.
Yeah, it's not like he's a guest or anything. So
Yeah,
we don't really have to
I
take
think.
care of him.
Yeah.
Do we have horses or anything like this, or do we have to literally just hoof it?
You do have riding animals. You do have horses.
Okay.
The two
Mm.
of you. And
Now-
it's worth noting for Grum, he's only using resources as long as he's useful. So as soon as if he doesn't join or his use terminates, then so does he.
Okay. Getting a better picture of what our actual organization is kind of like now. But anyway. Okay,
Yeah.
so the area around us, is it safe to use horses and stuff? Or is it actually better to hoof it? Didn't you say we're in the
If
mountains
you-
or something?
Right. So you're in some kind of glassy, carved out valley thing.
Right.
If you take the goat's path back out,
Uh-huh.
then yeah, your horses could do it. And you'd be back in the arid forest.
Right.
If you keep going through the valley, there is, a lot of unknowns about how the land is like underfoot.
Right. It could be anything. Magic went
Yeah.
crazy, so like
So
there
it could be
spikes or whatever.
right. It could be sharp. It could be slippery. It could be anything. And as soon as
Ugh.
your horse goes, then that's it.
Okay. And then we've lost a valuable horse. That's
Yeah.
what you're telling me.
Then you're in trouble.
How far away is the library? Best guesstimate.
Best guesstimate is about 12 kilometers.
Can't I walk that in a day?
You could walk that in a day.
It's a lot more comfortable on a horse, though.
Hmm.
Okay, so I'll look to Tejas and ask him, what do you think? Should we take the horses or do you want to hoof it?
I'll say take the horse, but we do have to remember the possibility of having to leave them if the terrain doesn't allow for it.
Right. Are the horses trained to go back to like a safe area if we do leave them?
They've been disciplined to stay in a place
Okay.
as far as they can.
Well, great. Okay, let's take the horses and we'll ride.
Sure. So, what kind of resources will you be taking with you?
Water,
Like, how are you going to
food,
equip yourselves?
weapons,
Yeah, other than our
backpacks, tents.
armors and weapons, tents. Sure,
Anything could
basic.
happen.
Yeah,
So,
I think anything enough for at least a couple of days trip.
Sure.
yeah. And then how did we stop the rain from scalding us? We just put up like a canvas or something up top? Or...
Yeah.
So-
Essentially, you have waxed canvases.
Yeah, so we'll need those too. Just in case it keeps raining.
Just in case, yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Okay.
Rope.
Are we expecting any climbing from the map?
It's a mountain range that's been carved into a valley. Who knows what's gonna be there?
All right.
Like, this literally is a landscape that's been changed by magic. Anything could happen, right?
Sure.
So, like, being prepared as much as possible. Food,
light
maybe
sources would help as well.
herbs, medicine, light sources, like, I guess, torches?
Right. The apothecary is going to fight with you about taking some of his herbs.
Intimidate. This is for a mission.
Intimidate him. Okay.
I think I just said this we can talk through. And maybe I can go use my.
I'm about to intimidate him, but Tejas can step in if he'd like.
I'm gonna use my diplomacy for this.
Yeah, let's roll some diplomacy. Let's do that rather.
Yeah. It's a skill rating of
So-
8, but let's
this
just
one's-
roll and see.
Yeah, because this would be hard. This would be 3 successes necessary.
Actually, I can take average for that, but we'll just want to roll and see what happens.
What
what
happens
was
with
it?
the dice?
The dice tell us. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, so I'm looking for evens, and that tells me I have 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. Yep.
Okay. Nice. So that's a good success. I think that's what it's called. I must triple check. But
Yeah, it's gonna take
successful
some time to
nonetheless.
get used to the whole difficulty thing.
So now this
Yeah.
guy loves us. I don't know what.
oh no,
I don't know
sorry.
what Kay just
Plus-
said, but now he
Plus
loves
1
us.
this is a simple success.
Aw.
So
Good enough for
As-
me.
yeah, so as part of the simple success, he will give you some antibacterial paste he's made to stem infection, but that's all he's willing to let you walk away with.
God. Okay, fine.
I voice my gratitude and say, "You'll take whatever you can give." The camp still counts.
And he gives you like a cent. It's like, yeah, if you're gone and you die, that's 2 helping hands we don't have. He feels some amount of empathy, even though life has been traumatic to say the least.
Well, just know that you're doing this for a good cause.
He feels happy. It's
Right.
nice to be noticed.
Thank you, Apothecary. Now we can be on our way.
All the rest of the stuff we're able to gather, right? Like all the other
Yes.
equipment. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's face the unknown. We'll see what the hell is in the
Mhm.
landscape in front of us.
Into the unknown. So the path back is going to be a little bit unwieldy for the horses after the night of rain. So I'm going to need some kind of riding or animal handling skill or something.
I do not have one.
But you have
So
charisma.
I do have very little charisma.
You could argue for something else.
How about strength? You kind of have to wrestle the horses to
Sure,
go the way you want it to, basically.
sure. I can see that.
So if it's unskilled, remind me how many dice I have. It's like 3 minus.
That's a -2.
Right.
Yeah.
So I have
Okay.
3 strength and it's -2 because I'm not skilled in it. So I have exactly 1 dice.
Right.
That's excellent. There we go. Oh, and it's a success.
Oh, yay, one success.
Okay, I'm going to be using my charisma for animal handling, which is untrained. So that would be a -2 for me as well, and that gives me 2 dice.
Hey.
But it's a dice, so it can always go wrong.
Right. Basically, what we're looking for here
Oh crap.
is
I
not
don't have
that.
a
Oh, oh.
Aw.
Like I say, it's always dice.
Yeah, it always does. So the on the up is a lot easier because the horses can gain traction digging in and managing to like wrestle them and steer them to places that you deem are better as the superior life form.
Yeah.
But on one of the parts down is when Cage's horse is going to hit a particularly slippery spot, and it's going to
Ooh.
it's going to start like sliding down and rear up and get a little bit spooked, and you're going to slam into a boulder at the bottom of your descent.
Oh,
But the
Yeah.
horse hits the boulder first. Yes.
Well,
And
yeah,
Cage's
it's
his blow has been softened by the horse.
he's
Yes.
not full. So
Right?
the gist of what I'm getting at is both of you are going to take 1 non-lethal damage.
both as in me and the horse.
You and the horse, correct?
Right. That's okay, right?
That's
Mhm.
fair.
How hardy is the horse? Who knows? Only me. But
How?
you're both fine.
The horse dies.
Just a little, just a little bruise.
Yeah, just a little bruising.
Bruise. Yep.
Yep, rocks are hard. Definite, like probably didn't draw any blood, just ouched. So you would be all set to like get back on and head back down,
Alright.
possibly a bit
Yeah.
more gingerly than before, kind of slowing the process.
Right.
I mean, at this point, Maximus would ask you, or he probably shout down, "You all right? Are you okay?"
Yeah. Just a little bruise. Can't talk to a horse as much. You can't talk to a horse to do better.
Maybe we shouldn't have brought the horses.
We'll see. We'll see.
Is
How
there?
far? How far
sorry.
are we? We have 12 kilometers to cover. How far in
Right.
are we?
How far in are you? Considering that you've gone up and down, you're about 0.5 kilometer so far.
Okay.
Ah,
Is
Having
there
to like
a high point? Yeah, at the higher elevation, was it possible to see maybe further and to see what the landscape looked like
yeah.
from a higher
Maybe we can
elevation?
navigate by sight.
Yeah. So on the map that was confiscated from Grum when he was taken captive, it looks pretty accurate. So from your high elevation, there is a sparse canopy of trees that stretches out for about 3-4 kilometers,
Okay.
and then it gives way to like pure sand and rock desert.
Okay.
And there's kind of like a rise in the distance, and then you don't really see much beyond that.
That's awesome.
That spreads out directly ahead of you and off to the west of you. Off to the east of you, the mountain range kind of curves out and blocks anything else from view.
Really looking forward to this desert crossing that we're gonna have to do. That's awesome.
Mhm.
And who knows what's gonna be in the forest. Let's continue forward, Cages.
So the whole climb down onto solid ground, is rather uneventful. And on your during your walk, there's very little by the way of wildlife and fauna. It's all
That's a good thing. That's not a bad thing. That's a good thing.
right. There's no bugs around. You've only seen one thing flying in the sky. Hard to tell if it was scaly or feathery. But you didn't attract any ire
That's
either
good.
way.
Let's let's make sure to keep an eye on the sky, just in case something swoops down and tries to kill us. So
Well, we have to cover the trees that
right,
should
we're
protect
about
us,
to head.
unless they're on the trees.
Right, we're
Yeah,
about
you're
to hit
still-
the forest, right?
Yeah, this is still in the forest.
Okay, so we're fine so far. Great.
Right. And I'm trying to see, there's a survival check.
God.
There's a survival skill. I
Yeah, there's
believe.
a survival skill. I'm trying to think of what this would be. So my D&D brain is saying perception.
Well, the perception is a secondary
Oh, it's
attribute.
the secondary attribute. Okay.
Yeah. So which one do you want us to roll?
We'll
Like,
do-
are we perceiving something, or are we like
Oh, you're
tracking something?
you're perceiving something.
Oh, then we roll. Then we can roll
Sure.
perception for that. So perception should be. I mean,
Mhm.
it's a pre-calculated stat. It's an add up between. I believe it's
Between intelligence and willpower.
Okay, so what do I have to roll for this?
So just look at your sheet, and
Yep.
if you've calculated your secondary attributes, it should have a number there.
And what were the secondary attributes that you're looking at?
Intelligence and willpower.
Okay, so that's a 4 together. So I'm just rolling 4
Okay.
dice. Is that
4
what you're
dice.
saying?
Correct.
Okay. Well, let's see.
Mm-hmm.
1 success.
1 success.
I have I have a combined intelligence and willpower of 6, so that's my perception.
Mm-hmm.
And I have 5 successes.
5
Wow,
successes.
I don't need
Yeah.
to. I don't need to look.
Nice. Now, now here's my roll. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, I can't even roll 10. I need to add another 2 here. As an opposed roll.
Mhm.
And
That's a lot of dice.
That's a lot of dice.
Only 5 successes out of that, though. I think 1, 2, 3, 4,
Mhm.
5. Yeah.
Right.
So 5 versus 5. I'm going to say then that you managed to notice just in time to avoid the lunging bite of a fern spider. So a fern spider, as you're like, we have Maximus looking up, checking for things
Flying
swooping down.
enemies, yeah.
For the first time in all of human history, your predators can come from above. So this is a valid concern. Humans never really had flying predators, and Cages manages to look down to possibly just to like readjust the canter of his horse, and he notices a fern that is 1 meter across.
Ooh.
And how high would this be? It's like 1 meter across, half a meter high, probably. and it's got 8 fronds coming off of it, but he sees the glinting eyes in the morning sun as it jumps out, and he yanks his horse to avoid this thing.
That's no fern.
No shit. Wow, really?
This is when we hit combat number 1.
Okay, so
All right.
Time
Let's
to
roll
try
for
and combat.
initiative.
great.
Now we just have to remember how we do that.
I have 6.
You have an
We have-
initiative value.
Yeah. Yep. You have your initiative as a second attribute as well. That is a combination of, I believe, it's dexterity and something
And
else.
something.
Dexterity and intelligence.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, I'm gonna roll mine. Here we go.
hmm
Looks like I only have 2 successes, so I'm guessing that's only 2.
2 success. Ooh.
Cages.
4
is-
success.
Cages
got 4.
has 4 out of 5.
And no
You got
success.
Nothing.
Nothing. The spider was ill prepared. Probably very sluggish.
I think it
In the
took
heat.
its first action by lunging at Cages anyway. So
I mean, it basically did, so that's quite fair.
yeah. Okay, go Cages.
All right.
First.
So I go first. Obviously not something you can talk to, so he's gonna have to draw his, I believe it's a sword that he has, or a short sword.
Yeah.
But he's gonna be, you know, Cages being with Maximus for so long, definitely the first instinct is Maximus.
So you're going to
That's
be
definitely
holding
his-
your
his-
action? Is that what you're doing?
That may be his first instinct that made him survive this long.
Okay.
Okay.
Help!
Yeah, that gets a
Oh,
style
it's a-
point.
It's not even a short sword; it's a dagger. So yeah, that's how prepared Cages is when it comes to fights.
Yeah. So add a style point there for that.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
So, question: how far away are we from it?
From it, Cages is currently within 2 meters of it. You are within 10 meters of both of them.
So, me running,
Mhm.
would I be able to get to it in time? I have 7 moves, so
Are you going to be on the horse or jumping off the horse to do this?
I'm probably gonna have to jump off the horse to do this. I don't have any skill in riding and attacking. Like I'm sure this is not easy.
So you're not
Right.
gonna like mountain blade, like swing off your horse on it.
I
at
mean,
it.
if I could, if I'm that good at it, then I would. But I have no horse riding skill at all.
Right.
So I'm gonna
Yeah.
guess to do that it requires horse riding. So I'm gonna get off. my
Wise
horse.
is the warrior that knows his limitations.
So I'm gonna get off my horse. Can I get off my horse, run there, and attack with my axe? Is it possible?
Yes, I believe so. You should be able to.
Okay.
I
I'm
don't know
gonna
if it
do
should
that.
take a whole round to get most of the way there. I'm trying to convert imperial to metric in my brain. Because everything's in feet and inches and stupid
If
colonial
I can't get there, I will
units.
shoot my bow. If I can get there, I will hit it with my axe. You decide.
I'm trying to think. I'm trying to find the table that explains how far movement goes.
Depends on the move rating of.
Yeah. So what's your move rating?
Yeah.
7. I got move
7.
7. That's what it says.
All right. I just did this. So a move of 7 in combat rounds allows him to move 35 feet.
Oh yeah, then you can totally get there.
Yep. Then I will get there and attack.
Cool. So make your attack roll. And the spider will make its defense roll.
Okay. Hold on. I'm looking up charge. It says when charging an opponent, your character makes a headlong assault using either brawl or melee. Charging grants a +2 charge bonus to your attack roll. Your
Right.
character may move up to her normal move before making the attack, but cannot move again afterwards. I don't see any problem with this,
Reason. Yeah.
right?
Nope.
I mean, I need to get there. I'm not going to be moving afterwards anyway, so I might as
Yeah.
well just charge. Right?
Sure.
Okay, so my melee is a 6, and then I get to add
Mhm.
2 more here. So that's 8 altogether. Let's
Nice.
take a look.
1,
1,
2,
2,
3,
3,
4,
4, 5. 5
Versus-
successes.
It's defensive. So only 2 successes.
But there's a difference of 3. So that's
Yeah.
3 lethal.
Yeah. 3 lethal damage on the poor spider. So that reduces the spider to 1 health. Not so tough now.
And Cages now managed to draw his dagger and tries to stab it to death.
Nice.
Although Cages only has, I believe, only a 1 dice.
But for having to defend
second
multiple
attack.
attacks, it does
Correct.
get -2. So
-2.
there's a chance.
There is a chance. So I'm just going to try my luck here.
Aw.
Cages
Aw.
fails.
He fails.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
doesn't really matter. Successfully doesn't need to defend. Cool. So the spider is instinctually going to try and preserve itself by lunging to bite Maximus.
Of course. Why would he ever go after Cages, the weaker character?
Well, it's not about weaker, it's about the fact that you
I know, I
Like,
attacked it. I
you
understand.
cut it open and
Yeah,
it's,
well.
and it's not like gooey and gross and it's all buggy.
Yeah, I understand. That's fine.
Yeah. But it what's
I
its
get a
rating?
defense roll too, right?
You do. I was just trying to find its rating for this attack. Okay, okay. Cool. So here it goes on 3 successes.
Okay, and I get to roll my defense. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Whoa! So, dumb spider. You're prepared for it, obviously. How are you prepared for its jump at you?
Well, I knew that seeing its attack previously on Cages, on the horse, I knew it lunges, and it seems to just lunge straight at you. So all I had to do was step to the side to avoid its attack.
Very, very calculated and very astute.
Exactly.
Okay, so would you like to end this poor spider's life?
Oh, it's my turn again. Right.
It is.
Okay.
We only have 2
Yeah,
people.
I will attack. With the melee, I only have 6, unfortunately. So here we go.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, not only 3 successes this time.
Only 3
successes?
successes.
Okay.
This one, it only has 2 defensive successes, so that's 1 more lethal damage. It is now at 0 health. And
So only 1 damage got through? Is that what you're saying?
yeah, only 1 damage managed to get through.
What is this 2L thing then on my hand axe? I have 2 lethal, is what it says. Right.
Now
Isn't
you
the
have me
hand
second
axe
guessing
too
myself.
Have a look.
Scanning at the
Yeah.
speed of light in the PDF quickly.
Yeah. Either way, I'm sure I killed it, right?
Right, so the wounds in Desolation, as far as I can tell, so the effects of damage are lethal damage is like slashing, cutting, stabbing, burning. Non-lethal is bruising, fatigue, illness. And then burn is like puts constant strain and exhaustion on you.
Right.
So the effects of damage health over here. Your character's health rating represents how much damage she can take before falling unconscious, suffering wound penalties, and dying. Falls below 0, suffers penalty dice equal to the negative health rating overall actions. Reaches 0 because of lethal wounds, disabled, and only capable of taking limited action, falls below unconscious and begins to die. At -5 health of lethal wounds, you die.
Okay.
So, for all intents and purposes, you've rendered the spider unconscious,
Right. Okay. So it's still alive though.
but pathetically twitching,
Right. We're
and
gonna
it's
coup de
going to
grace it
die.
and basically finish it off.
Which is a thing in the thing. Incapacitated can be killing blowed, coup de grace.
I'll do that. With a
Gross.
nice sweep of the axe
Uh-huh. Get
right
it in half.
into its basically where its eyes would be. I'm gonna guess I don't know if it has 8 eyes like every other spider, but
It
basically
does.
we're gonna hack those eyes out
Gross.
just to make sure
So
it's dead.
that's fine.
Like really
Uh,
like a Walking Dead style when they're killing off the zombies and repeatedly hitting the head to make sure they got the brain. That's what I'm doing basically.
like it's the spider's fault that you're in this situation that
Yeah,
you're in the
exactly.
first place. And a number of gross crunching sounds later, and sickly like yellow and red goo on your axe. The spider's legs curl up as it dies. And you have a choice to make with the spider being dead.
Uh-huh.
It has a nutrition value of 2, meaning you could
Oh,
feed
no.
2 people for a day.
Oh god. It's gotta have poison. There's no way there's
In the
no.
place that you just axed apart, yeah?
Oh, okay. Wouldn't this be like a survival skill to like cut away the meat from?
The here's the problem. This is a survival skill, but if you don't have a survival skill,
Uh-huh.
you take half the amount of nutritional value.
Okay.
So it becomes 1.
So it becomes 1. So you could feed 1 person on spider meat.
What about you? Have I ever seen Cages do this kind of thing before? Does he know anything about skinning animals?
Cages, have you ever
No,
cooked up
I have not
spider?
skinned. I have probably not skinned as much animals as Maximus has in his life.
Okay. I might as well try it. What the hell?
Sure.
Right? Meat is
Yeah.
meat.
Meat is meat.
And
And
if
you know,
it
they
doesn't
call
work out,
like
then-
lobsters are the insects of the ocean, so it might even taste good.
Right. Anything like green and possibly not red blood, like anything
Yeah.
clear, I'm gonna stay away from and
Mhm.
just assume that it's venom of some type,
Sure.
and then we'll cut away. You want me to roll or
Let's just get the 1 nutritional value worth of spider meat.
sure? Okay.
Sure. It's worth noting that the fern part of its legs seems like actual vegetation growing off of it, and it
Huh.
smells lightly of pumpkin.
That's weird.
A strange peculiarity.
I think our
Okay.
horses will not be interested in pumpkin leaves for a while.
Mm.
Possibly.
Let's keep going, Cages.
Yep. Once
We
we're
need
done with
to get
any,
as far as possible as the daylight's still here. This time I'll ride in front.
always got your back, Maximus. Always
Uh-huh.
got your back.
I won't say
And-
anything to that. I'm
Cages is
gonna
always
guess
trying to be
that
friendly.
in the past, every time he had my back, he literally missed every single time he used his dagger or whatever. So I know what that means. Basically, I know that I'm gonna have to fend for myself and Cages is what.
But having him there to cheer for you has always been a deciding factor.
Uh-huh.
You have something to fight for.
Yeah. Okay. Sure.
I didn't
Let's
get to use my
go-
inspire. Should have done that.
Let's pretend that's true.
Squish the bug for me, please.
Okay, so we get back on our horses and we continue down.
Right. And the clouds are going to be clearing up as you start getting towards the end of the forest. So when you break through the tree line, it's like an abrupt stop to the grass.
Hmm.
and it's all desert. Imagine B-roll of the Sahara Desert.
Right.
Um,
It's probably
still,
odd because it usually, I don't think it happens that way. Usually there's some kind of brush or something before it turns into a desert.
right. But the fact that it was like,
Like we're stepping into a different biome
yeah,
immediately.
and the fact that like the forest behind you was already a mix of two biomes, it's like this is a weird part of the world at the moment.
right.
Not as deadly as other parts, but definitely not comfortable.
Is the temperature really, really bad as well?
The humidity's letting up,
Okay.
and it's you could approximate it to how like 30 degrees feels. Being out in the direct sunlight like this feels a lot hotter than it probably is.
Good thing I don't have plate mail on, I guess. Whatever.
Oh yeah, you'd be pretty hot.
Now we have no cover. And now basically anything can see us from afar. That's what you're telling me.
This is what I'm trying to tell you, correct?
Are we at least the same color as the sand? Or are we like brown splotches on?
Well, your horses are white and brown splotches, being
Uh-huh.
all chestnutty. You are wearing the green
Oh crap, that's
traveling
even worse.
cloaks of your legion.
Can we
Mm-hmm.
hide this somehow? Like can we I want to be the same color as the sand. Basically is what I want to get to. If we dirty our cloaks, would that work? Like right now our cloaks are green. If
Right.
we caked our cloaks with the sand after we wetted our cloaks, you get what I'm trying to say here?
Yeah, yeah, that
Would
is something
that
you could do.
cover us up? Is what I'm saying.
It would,
Probably,
from a
right?
distance, you would look less like people traveling and more like some kind of creature you don't want to mess with because it's all big and lumbery. So your silhouette at a distance would be less of a person on a horse and more like some kind of mutated horse.
Which will still attract predators, basically.
Not necessarily, because remember, animals like respond to height in a lot of respects to like threat assessment.
Mm.
Like dogs, like hyenas and stuff, are especially susceptible to not attacking things taller than them. They're quite cowardly like
But
that.
we're talking about like a flying creature maybe that's big enough to attack like a human. Is what
Oh
you're-
yeah, that would probably try its luck.
Son of a. I'm gonna try it. I mean, what it'll take like what 2 minutes of our time. I'll feel a little bit more uncomfortable than I'm feeling right now. So
Mhm.
it doesn't really
Feel a
matter.
little bit
What
wet.
do I lose from doing this?
What do you lose anyway?
Exactly. So yeah, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna wet my cloak and just roll it in the sand and make it as dirty and the same color as the sand as possible. And
Cool.
Cages can follow suit if he'd like.
He just does it with disgust. Like, why are we doing this? We have perfectly fine clothes.
Yes, and I'm explaining to him why we're doing this. It's so that hopefully it'll provide a little bit more camouflage and cover for us. Just shut up and do it. After
Okay,
we're
so
done, we'll continue, basically.
right. So you've gone through the effort of getting your cloaks more native to your environment,
Mhm.
like kind of like Metal Gear Solid style.
There's no boxes.
There's no, and you can't paint yourself to look like a paved driveway, unfortunately.
Damn it.
Damn it! Oh, why do we do these games? It goes fine for the most part. There's nothing really remarkable. It's boring, like really boring. Like, oh my god, this is boring. Why is this taking so long? Why is the scenery not changing?
Are we making progress, or are we just simply walking in the same spot over and over again?
You are, as far as you can perceive, walking forward. And the scenery is changing.
Okay, so seeing as how magic has gone crazy, just in case, I'm gonna put a mark in the sand. I'm just gonna put my name in the sand, basically.
Like you're gonna dig it out or use rocks.
I'm gonna use, if there's rocks, then I would use rocks.
You can use rocks.
Good. I will put my name in rocks in the
Maximus was
sand,
here.
just in case. Oh no, I'll just put Max. It'll take me too long to
Okay.
write down Maximus. Max, and then I will. Hopefully, I will never see until my trip back. I will never see this name again, like these stones again. Hopefully, is
Right.
what's gonna happen, and then we continue forward.
Sure. So for the next 2 hours, indeed, you don't see your name,
Excellent.
but
I knew
you.
it.
But here's the but. That rise that you saw earlier hasn't really come that much closer. It has come closer, but not that much.
After 2 hours.
After 2 hours.
According to this map and doing
Mhm.
a little bit of calculation in our heads, how many kilometers should we have already gone by now?
Oh, you should be at least halfway there.
And does it look
Halfway
like
through the
we're...
desert.
Oh, halfway to where the spit mark is.
And on the map, is there a desert on the map?
On the map, there's the boundary line drawn for you between
Uh-huh.
the forest and the desert, but there wasn't enough paper to go really that far beyond.
Okay.
Maximus is like spat in the direction of the temple, is what you can deduce now from where you are. Sorry, not Maximus, Grum.
Yeah, right.
So he's more like spat an arrow onto the paper, saying go that way.
Something strange here. Why are we not making more progress? It feels like we should be... Should we be past the desert by now?
You should be past the rise at least, being able to see more of the landscape behind and around you.
Okay, yeah. So I say this to Cages. We should be further along than this by now. Something's going on. I don't like it.
If
You want
Gorm
to say
has,
something?
if this is what Gorm has decided to put us on, like this is his trap. But I'm trying to. I guess now is the best time to try to decipher whatever is put on the map. Like besides, so you're telling me that his spit marks forms an arrow or direction?
Not forms an arrow, but you looking at the map again, you get a sense that like he hasn't actually mapped out that much of the area, and it's more of an indication of which direction to travel. So it's like, let me
So
open up
presumably we've
paint.
been traveling that direction.
You have been traveling that direction. So I'm sharing paint quickly so I can draw a better representation.
Yeah.
So here's the valley that was carved out, and here's like where your tents would have been.
Hold up.
Hold
I
on.
need to turn
I
on
need
the
to
stream.
see it.
That's fine.
Let's see. Watch stream. Okay, I have it now. Sorry, explain again. What's going on?
So this channel in the middle is the valley that was like carved through the mountain. All these little triangles are where your camp was. That your little band had set up for the night.
Right.
And you had taken a winding path out back into this forested area. And beyond the forested area is all the desert.
Right.
And this rise that you were aiming for
Uh-huh.
is over here. And essentially what Grum has done is like spat in the bottom corner of the map.
So we need to get to the rise, and we're pretty much at the library that we're looking for, is what you're saying.
It's indicated which part of the rise the library's at.
Yeah, so
But
he's
we are
indicated
currently at-
like because he spat here and said, "Go there, you'll
Right.
find it."
Right.
Right.
Okay.
'Cause I'm
Problem
not
is,
Mhm.
we're not getting anywhere.
you're not really getting anywhere. You're like over here, and it doesn't feel like anything remarkable is happening.
We're over here at this dot. That's what you're saying,
Yeah,
right?
at this orange dot. This is you guys.
Oh, okay. So yeah, something's going on. That's what you're
Yeah.
telling us. Great. Magic.
I'm
I
just
hate
not
magic.
I'm just not really recalling if there's anything that he said particular. He did mention he did mention whispers and a key.
Yes.
Uh when he said key, he was referring to annotations of a legend. I mean
Yeah.
there were legends.
Yeah.
So if I look through that, if I go back to that page of the journal and I look at the legends, like
Mhm.
what kind of legends has he placed out already?
Right. He has marked off I'm just going to close this. He has marked off a star shape in his journal that he has labeled the door, which is parallel to where you would guess you are now in the desert,
Okay.
as something nearby you. Further back, he has noted a rock formation, and he has called that home, which is where you did happen to find him, scouting ahead looking for somewhere to settle down for the night. And he's got all sorts of other markings that don't really appear on this map.
But
So it's like whether he had plans, whether he has other maps, hard to tell.
okay, so I'm looking over, I guess, Cage's shoulder
Mhm.
while he's looking at this the map, and I'll say perhaps we should make our way towards this and point to that star that he had written on the map.
Which would be closer? Would the rock formation or the star?
So the rock formation would be just turn around and head back the direction you came. Probably would be closer considering that walking the way you wanted to wasn't getting you anywhere. But on the map, the star location is much closer.
All right.
And
I'll-
sorry, the star
yeah.
location had what labeled? What was the label on the star
It
location?
was called the door.
The door. Sounds promising to me.
Yeah. All right, Maximus. I think he did mention about keys, and you probably need a door for that. Maybe
And
that's the way to
we
get
have a
into.
key, right? Didn't you say the key
Now
was this?
I think the key was the spit, if I remember correctly.
He had you draw a
An additional legend,
right. What was that for exactly? What did that do? Do you remember?
which was that corner of the map where the library is. His spittle is that.
Okay. Well,
So
I
we know
mean,
where the location of the library is, but
Mhm.
he hasn't really talked about what the key is, and he definitely didn't mention anything about the door before that.
Right. Well, we'll have to get there. We'll have to examine it. If we can't figure it out, I guess we might have to head back and beat it out of him.
Let's hope it doesn't come to that, because
Let's
I don't
hope-
like to be in
yeah.
this desert for too long.
What time of day is it? How long have we been doing this for?
The sun has slowly just past noon.
We still have half a day
Worst-
left. We should be able
worst
to finish
time in a
this off.
desert.
Yeah, you
At
spend
least-
a lot of time not really noticing that you haven't gone forward.
Right. So you said it's parallel to us, so let's go in
Mhm.
that direction where the star, or yeah, where the door has been marked on the map.
Sure. So you now that you're aware of it, in your turn and travel in the direction, the perspective of like the mountain behind you, the landmark of the rise, it's not really changing perspective, but you are making headway. And off in the distance, you can see sort of a semicircular shape that's like deeply silhouetted.
Okay.
We tell like, is this some kind of structure or some kind of natural formation?
Hard to tell from this distance if it
Right.
has been put
We're
together.
gonna need to get closer. Yeah.
All right.
So let's do that. Let's get closer with our horses.
Sure. So you get closer and you can see more of like a craggly outline. So it seems like an outcropping of a rock that's like waving over. But the shadow on the inside doesn't like illuminate. It's still pitch black in the shadow of the alcove, no matter how close you start to approach.
Hmm. So
That's
This
one heck of a
is-
door.
yeah, this is probably what we're looking for. Even if we like throw a torch in there, we can't see. Is that what you're saying? Like when we get off the
So
horses,
we try.
throw a
Yeah, we'll
torch in?
probably. Yeah.
Right. So when you get to it, the outside is illuminated in the afternoon light, but there's like this barrier where the sunlight doesn't enter. If you poke a torch in there,
yeah,
like you suggested, there is light coming from the torch. You
Does
can
it-
see it's like torchlight in the night is here, but not out there. It's daylight out there.
when we put the torch in this outcropping, right?
Mhm.
Can we see the inside of the outcropping?
Yes. And on the inside of the outcropping, there is like a crevice in the wall where there's a spring of water coming out the bottom with like some moss hanging from the top.
Will our horses fit through the crevice?
The crevice would be big enough for humans to get through. You wouldn't be able to get the horses to squeeze through.
Mhm.
Well, there's
Looks
water
like-
here, so we can leave the horses. They should survive. It's an outcropping, yes.
Right, so
they
they're
would
sheltered,
have-
just
yeah, they're sheltered.
dark.
Yep. Guess that's where we have to leave the horses. Pack
And
our stuff into a backpack and put it on our shoulders.
which we have. And
Yeah.
I specifically remember saying backpack, so we have
You
that.
did mention backpacks.
Yeah. So yeah, we will put all the stuff in our backpack and go through the crevice
Sure.
and wait for the floor to fall from our feet.
Well, right, so you start going through the crevice and the water gets deep enough to cover your shoes, the stream of water. So it's like it bowls out on the inside. And it doesn't take you more than like 2-3 minutes of shimmying to see a crack of light off a little bit in the distance. And you come out to find that you are on the other side of the rocky alcove. The weird thing is, it is now almost sunset, and you have traveled the entire span of the desert leading up to the rise.
Okay.
So it's like you were stuck in a bit of space that was stretched out.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah, and
But
you've
this is like a passageway through it.
right,
that's
and
what
you've
you're
come
saying.
across on the other side of this.
Well, safe
So
passage
we are on-
at least.
Are we like near the rise, or I mean, are we at the bottom of the rise, or
You're at the bottom of the rise.
We're still in desert though, right?
Correct. It's still dry. It's
And
still
it's sunset.
on this side. It's quite rocky. A
Yep.
lot of
Okay.
like big slabs of rock and loose gravel.
The elevation, the rise is close, right?
Yeah.
So I'd like to take a look around. I'd like to climb up and take a look around from the rise, basically.
Okay. So ascending the slope, you can turn around and you can see roughly where like this corridor of rock snakes a little bit into the desert to where the outline that you saw before was. And beyond that, you can see the mountain kind of looming now. It's getting dark off in the distance and all of the land between you. Not as far as you actually perceived it to be from the other side. The desert actually looks shorter from this side.
Okay.
If you look over the rise in the direction that Grum pointed you, you can make out some ruins of what you presume to be stone.
Is there anything between, like, does the biome continue to stay desert all the way to the ruins?
Correct.
It's rocky rather than
Yeah.
sand.
Yeah,
Right.
it's more rocky rather than sandy.
But we should be able to make it there before the sun sets.
You could.
Do you want to make camp in the crevice, in this outcropping here, Cages, or do you want to try to make it to the ruins and make camp there instead?
I would prefer at the ruins, although I'm starting to think that since we've seen what we presume is the library, I think it's pretty much mission accomplished, isn't it? Or can we like start going back to the camp to say we found it?
What was our particular mission, William?
Oh,
Like, he literally told us just to find it and then report back, or did he
right.
want us
He
to
wanted you to
actually...
confirm and report back.
So the confirm
Well-
part requires us to actually get there and
The
make
confirm
sure...
part,
Yeah.
right. It
I mean,
implies go
if we
investigate or bring back an artifact.
Right.
Yeah, if you're gonna have to confirm it, then we might as well be camping outside the door, wouldn't it? That will be that will make things much easier tomorrow.
I'm just worried because we just went through this outcropping, right? This crevice all the way here, and we didn't find any enemies or spiders or monsters or anything basically in the crevice. We have no idea what's camping out at the ruins right now. Or, I mean, there could be nothing, but there could be something, and I'd just rather be safe and deal with any enemies in the daylight instead of at night. Out of character, does it actually get worse at night? Like I know a lot of games do, or
Well, what you've experienced in the area, traveling in your numbers, is nothing seemed to come very close within campfire light.
right.
By the way, of nocturnal predators, if there were any. Other than that, you can't really say. The only thing you do know is that in the desert it would get pretty cold out here.
Right.
Like, how much safer is it to be camping at the outcropping compared to the entrance of the ruin?
The entrance of the ruin probably, in that perspective, you would have more, certain foundations underneath you.
At the
With-
ruins.
Yeah. So presumably there's some kind of foundation that you could like sleep on, and no worm's going to dig you up from underground overnight.
Okay, you convinced me. Let's go.
You just
GM
need rocks.
says worms
Just need
can
rocks
pop
for
out of the
beds.
ground and eat you. So yeah, okay.
Yeah, you could just rock. You could climb on top of the alcove. It would be great.
Yeah,
See
not
the stars.
metagaming at all. But let's
There's
go.
no stars. Not metagaming at all.
Nope.
Okay, so how are you? What you arrive to as the sun is like cresting below the horizon is weathered stone structures. There's wall crumbling away. It's 3 buildings. One very small one that's of a similar size but like with an adjoining room attached to it, and one bigger main structure that has fared a bit better, with no windows, no other doors, just one entrance in the front, with 2 heavily rotted wooden doors that are probably only held up by like the iron cross bracing. The
Is the
other two
main
buildings, the smaller ones, have no doors, but they are empty and like sanded in. Like the desert's just blown into them over time.
right?
There's no furniture, nothing. No signs of life.
Hmm.
So presumably the more comfortable one would be the main building.
You would have to either break your way inside right now or camp up against it.
We could do a little investigation now, Maximus. I mean, just to find a proper spot to rest rather than confirming any
There is
artifacts.
still daylight, right? You said the sun
Very
was-
little.
There
Time is limited.
Okay, so let's do a very quick. You said there were windows on
No
the main.
windows.
No windows on the main
No
building.
windows.
Just the 2 doors.
Just the 2 doors.
But you said the 2 doors have been rotted, so we should be able to
Correct.
look through the cracks and stuff, right?
Right.
Okay, so let's do that. Let's see if we can see what is in the main building
hmm
first. And let's examine the doors and see if we can open them without breaking through.
Okay. So the little that you can see in the holes in the wood, it looks to be like some kind of chapel, like temple thing,
Okay.
like with an open floor, remains of a mosaic with like rudimentary stone like pews, and you can kind of make out like structures off to the sides, but it's hard to get a good angle to see. Like
No
in
movement,
wings.
right?
You don't see anything move, no.
Okay, so there's no movement.
You
No
don't hear
sound of
anything from the
movement. Okay.
inside.
Cool. Now, I think it would be more comfortable in the main building and probably safer if we can open these doors without breaking through. How are the doors locked
With an iron bar on the inside.
on the inside? Can we lift the iron bar through
You're going
the
to have to
slats?
break away some of the wood.
Which is doable, I suppose.
hmm
I'm not really afraid of humans, other humans, right now. The more dangerous enemy would be like beasts or animals or stuff like that. Having a door between us, something that'll stop the beasts from coming in at least for a few seconds, so that we can get ready, would be better than having an open door, I think.
Yeah, that's understandable. I'm gonna guess there's no way you can lift the iron bars from the outside and then be able to close the door and put the bar back on from the inside.
Right.
We'd have to break one of the slats, basically,
Mhm.
which I'm
Yeah.
sure we can do. It's rotted through, is what you're saying, right?
Yeah, it won't be terribly difficult for you to do.
All right. I mean, we got no choice, I think. We should break one of the slats. Let's do that. And then lift the iron bar.
Okay.
Yeah.
So with it splinters away easily enough. Almost like sawdusty, like termites were in it.
Great.
And with great protest, the iron bar like squeals up. And then to actually pull it aside and open, I'm going to need a strength check for me. This is going to be
Cages.
very
this is
hard.
you. Go.
He just like makes a way.
This is
He
going
just
to
like
be
makes
very hard.
way.
Well, I mean, cages can still help, right?
Okay, yeah, he can like pull
Like,
on you, pulling on the thing.
Okay.
Sure.
So
I can give you a +2 for that.
let's see. So just a pure strength check? Is that what you're asking me for?
Correct. I just
That
need
would
brute
be
strength.
just 3 dice. I only have 3 strength right now. And then I guess you can roll to help, right?
Do I have to roll? I think it's just
No,
a
it gets
flat.
added to your dice pool.
Oh, how
Yeah,
many do
it's
I
a
get?
flat +2.
2
2.
more dice?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because you need at least 3 successes on a hard.
That
Woo!
is done. I got it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah.
You did. You got a simple success. So you pull it all the way through, and you manage to not bring the entire door down over you.
Excellent. That's what I wanted.
But it makes a horrible grating sound. Like
Of course it does.
fingers on the chalkboard. Makes you actually uneasy. Both of you feel not mentally damaged, but like you have a sense of dread almost. As it hits the other end of the wall, fully opened.
And Cages, without being able to read the room, say, "Let's hope it doesn't wake anything up."
Indeed, Cages. That's exactly what I was thinking. We're just right there with me. I suppose there's nothing to do now but go in and make camp. Actually, the other thing we can do, if there's a book here, we could bring it and just jet right out of here in the night.
Oh, it's a chapel, isn't it? It's like, is there any movable pieces of items that's small enough?
Are there
Right,
any
there.
ancient artifacts or
Yeah.
relics or anything that we're actually looking for in this building?
So there's actually some structure inside of this
Uh-huh.
small building. So there's heavy, movable stone pews that are sitting in as neat rows as possible after an apocalyptic event.
Uh-huh.
And at the back, I forget what it's called, the pulpit, like the curtain bit between the people attending and whatever priest would have been in here during his rituals.
Right.
And it's a very frayed purple cloth that's hanging at the back, behind of an altar. And there are like wooden supports on the sides. One of them does happen to be a rack, with it has shelving racking around it with scrolls.
Well, I guess we're gonna pocket those.
Although
As long as they
Cages
don't
would be curious
crumble.
enough to start unfurling them to see if he can read them.
Sure. So some of them are as you open them up, they just kind of disintegrate.
Cages.
Right.
They
stop.
are there. there are some that don't fall apart. One that you probably opened before Maximus says, "Ah, stop! What are you doing?" Is a map of what could possibly have been the land around you, with a bunch of names written around it.
Interesting. Does any of them say the Library of
Balestra.
Balestria? Or is
Um,
it even readable? Do I even understand the language?
you can phonetically make it out. It's written in a common script, but
Right.
you have no idea what the words mean. You see like Zensi, you do see Balestria, but it's not. Obviously, all maps can't be trusted now. It's not where it says
Right.
it is. And there's some other names that you probably don't really care to memorize.
So basically what you're saying is this is not a library. It's a chapel. We have not found it. But this is the location it's supposed to be in, is what you're saying.
Right. This is what Brum
And
has told you.
and we found a map that says Balestria, so we might be able
But
to,
is the
it's not there, but at least we know where it could have been.
Is there a church on this map? Like this church? Is it on this map?
Well, it says Balestria on what's the western side of the map,
Uh-huh.
and on the eastern side of the map it says Zensi.
Is that a
These
an
are
area that I know?
these are really bold words,
Right.
and Zensi is the name of a province from probably a long time ago. A long time ago, meaning before the Night of Fire. It felt like 10 years.
Right.
So it's in your mind, it's like seeing this again. It's like, oh well, if we found this place, guess what that's gonna look like now.
Mm. so we can't find the temple or this church on the map, or the library on this map.
You're
It
not.
just says Balestria and Zetsi. That's it.
Yeah, and
Okay.
that's only useful information that you two can glean that you know of.
Well, I mean, there's nothing else that we can do besides take the scrolls that are there right now, right?
Hmm.
I'll tell you what. I'll set up camp. There should be a way to make like a small fire here, right?
Yeah, you would have
It's
had a
made out of
tinderbox.
stone, right? So
Mhm.
I'll set up camp, and maybe you can see if you can search the area and search for other
Yeah.
useful
I'll poke around. I'll definitely like to
artifacts
look
or
at the.
whatever.
I definitely like to look behind what's behind the curtain.
Yeah. So behind the curtain actually is a bunch of leather-bound books
Hmm.
and wooden leather-bound books, different kinds of tomes, and various like religious instruments, like incense burners, artifacts, shapes, that kind of thing. Nothing of particular note or interest, and a smashed open bottle of wine, which has gone dry a long time ago, unfortunately.
All right. I will flip through some of the books to see if they're, obviously number one, if I can read them,
Mhm.
and try to glean any contents. But it doesn't take long before Kay just starts eyeing the religious implements for something called value.
Mm-hmm. So, on a brief skimming of, would you gravitate towards like the bigger tomes, the smaller tomes?
Let's go for the
Most
biggest one.
Sure. So the biggest one is, it almost looks like halves of bamboo all around the cover, binding it in a hardcover. And skimming through it, it says something something, the Scarlet Way, all a bunch of drony prophecy stuff. And
Which will be
I,
definitely relevant later.
it will be relevant later because it mentions something that Grum talked about earlier. He said the library disobeys the law of cement. In the in this chapter of this thing that you've opened up, it's titled at the top, "The Law of Howling."
The law, as in
Yeah,
LAW,
LAW.
of howling,
Right.
and the law of
And
cement.
and open it and like flipping through 50 pages, there's the law of cement. Flipping through 50 more pages, there's the law of blood.
Let's read the law of cement, if it's possible. Can we glean any information from that?
You can. What the allegory amounts to is that building constructs and like empire building and expansion is hubris and an affront to God, and that it is destined that it would all be burnt down and destroyed, only to be rebuilt just so it can be destroyed again. So it implies some kind of like self-eating Ouroboros cycle.
And Grum said that the library disobeys the law of cement.
Correct.
So it's either supposed to destroy itself.
And then reappear so it can be destroyed again, but it's not doing that.
Well, that will be if it reappears, then they'll be obeying the law of cement.
Right.
Is what I'm reading. So for it to not reappear, once it gets destroyed once, then you'll be disobeying it.
Might as
Doesn't
well
seem to
read
make.
about. I mean, assuming that you've shown me this book that you're reading right now. might as well-
Before I head back to camp, what about the religious side of things?
The religious side of things. Well, I do have good news for you. It seems that the bowls that are meant for like altar work, they are copper plated silver. They did it backwards. They didn't silver plate copper.
Right.
Because like the copper was all tarnishing, and upon inspecting and scrubbing, it gave way to pure silver underneath. Well, you can assume pure.
How much
That's
would
what you'll
this?
tell people.
How much would I know would this fetch, like say, in a pawn market?
Oh, and like a pawn market, this easily gets you a cow, which
How
is
much?
great nutrition value.
That's a lot of value. That's a lot of value in one small cup, or is it a bowl?
It's a collection of bowls.
Oh, so I have to put it all together, right?
You have to
Yeah.
bring all of it back to get that
Jeez.
cow.
I
Backpack
wouldn't.
full of freaking plates and stuff.
I could do with part of a cow. I don't have to
Yeah.
bring the whole cow home.
That's true.
And
We also have to put all these books inside
That's
our backpacks
yeah.
too.
I
though.
mean, the obviously more space has to be dedicated to the books rather than the bowls. As much as Cages doesn't like that.
Right.
But
so when Cages does come back to the camp, right? And I'm
Mhm.
assuming you tell me about
yeah,
the law of
I bring
cement?
up, hey, check this out. I found something about Scarlet
Right.
prophecies and law of cement and
Can we also read
That's
the law
weird.
of blood and the other one too? Whatever it
Sure.
was.
law of the
the law
howl.
of blood and the law of howling.
Yes.
So, the law of blood is your typical anarchist kind of theory. So, the law of blood is that conflict is the only force that drives humanity forward into greater states of being. The more intense the conflict, obviously, the better. The more we evolve. So, it is only right that we, kill and steal and do whatever
Right,
we must to get
basically.
ahead.
Survival of
law-
the fittest stuff, basically.
Right. And the law of howling simply says all those who know of the words of the Scarlet King shall spread his power. It's just that written in the center of a page. And then the rest of that chapter is just like tales of how his influence has spread and altered reality, and people have done things in his name.
Right. Awesome. Okay. If the library disobeys the law of cement and will not return, then I'm assuming that this library is lost to us currently. Unless we can find a way to make it obey the law of cement. But I am not a scholar, nor am I a magician. I right now I believe, Cages, that the only thing we can do is bring this information back to Zarin Claw and call it a mission after, like tomorrow when we wake up.
I
What are
totally
your
agree.
thoughts? Okay.
I totally agree. We are here to do one job and got the job done.
As
Now
best
just
as
to
we
make it
could.
back alive.
Yeah. Now we just have to survive the night.
Indeed.
I will take first watch.
Sure.
Although I would want to recommend to Maximus, we could move one of the stone pews to cover up the broken door.
Good idea. Let's do that.
Sure. So that's not gonna. I won't make you roll for that. That's just something you managed to do. With leaving big scrape marks in the floor. You've ruined what's left of the colorful tiles.
How many pews are there?
There are 6.
There's 6.
They are 2.5 meters long each and half a meter deep.
Can we use it to just cover the door?
Yeah.
Like stack it up on the door so that it just covers both doors?
You would be able to like tip them up. Stacking them up would probably be a very exhaustive task.
Okay. Well, we'll do the best we can to block the doors.
Yeah. You can be reasonably assured that nothing very strong would be able to get through. Nothing that isn't strong.
Mm-hmm.
And if it was strong enough to get through, you definitely know it was getting through.
Right. And if it gets through and it's strong enough to get through, we're probably screwed anyway.
At least we already have an exit when it gets through.
That's right. So The rest is all really just out of your hands, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. So Cages can take first watch, or sorry, first go to sleep first. I'll take first watch. Yeah.
In Cage's time of sleep, the dread that filled both of you seeped into your dreams. And I would like you to recount a nightmare from the apocalypse where you lost something. What would Cages have a nightmare about? Where something was lost to him that was dear.
During the night of fire, or just something before that?
It could be before the night of fire, during, after, in the frozen time. Anything before the thaw.
Anything before the thaw. Okay. He'll have a nightmare, a bit of more of a surreal exaggeration of what happened to him after the night of fire, where he woke up to find that he's lost most of his property and his possessions. His businesses has been looted. You know, friends, not necessarily family, but friends that he knew were found dead. Their corpses littering in the town, and just the realization that he has lost everything thanks to the night of fire. And he doesn't even recall exactly what happened during the night of fire, just the morning after.
Right.
And now he has to he has this sinking feeling that now he has to wander out into the wilderness, starting from scratch, and he has no idea if he's going to be able to do it all over again in this new environment.
Cool. And unless you're going to do any discussion after waking up and changing the watch, same thing's going to happen to Maximus. Same
Okay.
nightmare of loss.
I think my nightmare is gonna be being separated from wife and child during the night of fire. Probably during the night of fire, me just desperately running to my humble abode to find it no longer there, basically. Just, it must have been either lifted into the sky or transported somewhere. The total shock of the landscape just totally changing, where I know where my home and my wife and my child should have been, right? And like just scrambling around through the night trying to find basically where they went to, or finding any basically landmark that I'm still familiar with during that night of fire, basically.
Okay. Cool. So, after jerking awake from your sleep in a similar fashion to Cage's, it is daybreak outside. And the feeling hasn't quite left the two of you over the course of the night, but it hasn't left you paranoid. You just feel uneasy. And outside, the day is a bit hotter than it was the day before.
I think the nightmare will make my character even more quieter than usual, basically. Like Cages might say hello, or how you doing,
And Cages can't stand the silence.
Basically, for most of the day, all you're gonna get are like grunts and nods.
Right. And Cages is somehow more annoyingly talkative.
Like,
More
hello,
annoyingly
friend.
than usual.
How are you,
Yeah.
friend?
If it goes on too long, he might shove Cages out of the way at some point.
Maybe that's what happens. We are both waking on the wrong side of the bed, so to speak. Yeah. But anyway, but Cages would definitely say, like, let's just get out of here as soon as we can. I just don't like spending here too long.
And that, that I would probably say, yeah, I agree. Go now. And
Cool.
we will start heading back through the desert to that door.
Yeah. and the same trip pretty much happens, just in reverse order to how we got there.
Hmm.
Our
where
horses still there?
the horses are not under the rocky outpost, but they're like meandering about, just
Okay.
doing horse things. I don't know.
Well,
But,
Drinking
you
as
know.
long as we can find them and use
Yeah, you
them.
can like take them to water, make them drink.
Good.
That's
Excellent.
not the phrase, but but same
These are good
nonetheless.
horses.
Yeah, they're great.
Okay, so
Right.
you're saying that we've gotten back to the camp.
Yeah, the trip was just as frustrating the second time, walking through that nothing of desert until suddenly, we're back at the tree line
Right.
and making your way back up and down. The camp is looking a lot drier. It is much hotter inside this valley. Like all the direct sunlight reflecting off the glassy surfaces. It's bright. It's really uncomfortable here, actually. There are people chipping away to see if they can find dirt underneath,
Hmm. Okay.
because they are trying to bury some people that perished. They've got like bodies covered in
We're walking through
cloth.
the camp when we see this,
Yeah,
right?
walking through the camp seeing
So
this.
very quickly, can I glance around and see what exactly caused the death? Like, are there scratch marks, piercing, blunt trauma damage?
Right. One person is missing an arm.
Okay.
Um, the undertaker person trying to dig through tells you it was a climbing expedition accident. They wanted to see if they could get up the other side of the valley, and he fell in, lost his arm, died of blood loss. The other two passed from heat stroke, from the boiling rain and the fact that you had no cold water.
I was just about to bring it up.
Yeah.
Did it rain last night?
Okay. We will make our way back directly to Zarenclaw.
hmm And Zarenclaw this time is outside of his tent, like helping pack and outfit people with more climbing gear. And someone points to the two of you, and he turns around and he says, "Yes, Maximus, Cagus, was Grumm's information helpful?"
We did find something. We found a chapel. It was full of books. However, I do not believe that we actually found the library itself. According to something that Grum had said before, he mentioned that the library does not follow the laws of cement, and we found in one of the books what that exactly meant. And then I guess we're going to pass him over the backpack
Sure.
full of books and stuff.
Yeah,
Here's
so like
what
you'll
we do have, though. If
so
you have any
unloading,
scholars, you can get them to take a look at this.
right? So like some attendants are helping to like unpack your horses and take your bags. And he sighs and says, "We will have a look over these books, see if anything can come from this. Go back to Grum. The sniveling idiot is still in the animal pen. Find out more if you can. If not, dispose of him. He's outstayed his welcome."
Okay, I'll just nod at that and then
Mhm.
leave. Is Kay
Okay.
just gonna follow, or
Well, I'd like to ask the commander, what's up with all the climbing gear?
And he tells you that he wants to not travel further into the valley. Initial reports say that it becomes more treacherous and unpredictable further in. So instead of going around this godforsaken mountain, trying to get up it with safety climbing hooks and ropes.
Right.
He seems like really impatient while explaining this to you.
Okay, I'll take that as a sign that he doesn't want me around for much longer. So I'll head towards back to Grom.
Okay. And he's less restrained than before. He has free use of his arms, but he doesn't have free use of his legs. So he's still bound pretty tight from the waist down. But his upper body is free, and he's sitting up against the fence, drinking, like cupping water out of a little dirty puddle next to him.
So I'll simply walk up to him, and then without even saying a word, I will slap him.
He knows the routine.
Yep.
And he says, "Sir, you found Balestria."
I'll slap him again.
He says, "Did you hear the whispers like I did?"
I'll keep slapping him until he shuts up. And
Wait,
he's
at
ready
this
to
point, I
listen.
think I'll stop Maximus. You mentioned whispers. You're talking about dreams, aren't you?
Correct. You are a smart one, unlike the brute behind me.
I'll slap him again.
And I give Maximus the look like this guy's. I think we're onto something here at this point. So maybe we need to lean off the violence a little bit.
Are you actually gonna say it, or are you just gonna use?
It's
like,
just a look.
A look.
A
Okay.
look. Yeah.
So I will. You're saying his legs are tied, but his arms are.
His
free?
arms are up.
Yeah, so like when you slap him, he can like brace himself when he lands.
Okay, so I'll just pick him up by the collar and lift him, so
Oh
that
my.
he can't. Like he's in the air, basically. Is what
Sure,
I'm doing,
he has
right?
no control now.
Right, exactly. Tell us how the Library of Balestra comes back. Tell us what we need to do to get it to obey the laws of cement, and do it now.
Says in a kind of like hushed and his demeanor's totally changed. It's like this hushed, fanatical kind of tone of voice and like facial expression. And he goes, "You must find Doug Hall. Doug Hall is the man who knows. He is the envoy of the Scarlet Time.
The Scarlet Time.
The Scarlet Time of the Scarlet King."
And I quote from the book something about he who knows the words, he who knows the Scarlet words knows the Scarlet King or something along those
And
lines.
he gets really enraptured, just like the fact that you kind of know what he's talking about. And he turns and quickly, "You hear the voices too. You have been told."
Tell us more about the law of howling and the law of blood.
The law of blood is simple. Your brute is following it quite amicably. However, he lacks vision. He lacks focus. He is not improving himself. He is only unproving me. Now, the law of howling, it has begun. You know. Your whole army will know. Your men will know. And your men will follow soon. The Scarlet King will consume us all.
Who is
Who is-
the Scarlet King?
The Scarlet King is a powerful man. Nay, a deity. No man can match him. No man can stand before him. And through his influence, you are drawn to him. If you seek him out earnestly, you will come to him. He does not need to come to you.
And where is Doug Hole? And why would he help us? How can he help us?
Doug Hull, he is a planted agent. He is in the area known as Callum, more to the west, beyond Balestria, beyond the desert, into the plains. I was only here to find herbs for alchemy. I am nothing, but he is all you search for.
And then I'll drop him. I still have him the whole time, but
Yeah.
now I'll just drop him
Just
so
like,
he
oof.
crumbles.
Yeah,
Right.
he crumbles and he sprains his wrist trying to brace the fall.
Right.
Oh, great.
So he's not
Well,
like all.
I'll turn to Cages and
Um,
ask, is there anything more we need from this rat?
yeah, I think we should talk. And I bring Maximus out of earshot range from Grom.
Yep.
If
I'll
what
follow.
he says is true about this Scarlet King, I think our days are quite numbered. And we're gonna have to think of a way to survive this.
What bothers me is we do not have a lot of information about the Scarlet King. Apparently, to this madman, and I'll mention to Grom, he's a deity, and I'll laugh at that a little bit too. Like, not a hearty laugh, just a scoffing laugh, you know what I'm saying? And then,
Kind of hollow because
right.
it was those magic deity things that caused the end.
I know it
Um,
sounds a lot of crazy, and he probably is. But look at it this way: if anything comes to shit, which we have an idea it might, but we don't know for sure. I like to have an insurance for that.
what are you suggesting?
We let Grom go, and maybe he can lead us to Duckhole.
Our orders were to kill him.
I know what our orders were. It's not. He may not be valuable to the camp or to the commander, but I think there's some value left inside of him for us.
We could tell the commander that there may be a way to get to the Library of Balestria, but we require Grum to take us to this dark hole that he's talking about. That may entice the commander to keep him alive for a little while longer, if that's what you wish.
I'm not so sure how keen the commander is on reaching Balestria. He wanted us to find it, but he would have sent all the other men to do it. I'm not sure if that's really his priority. His priority now seems to be a bit of a maddening side that he's trying to climb over a mountain that's going to get more men killed than more men over it.
So you're suggesting that we desert, that we take Grum and head on his word only to the west to find this dark hole that we've just now heard about, who may or may not be able to bring the library back. That's what you're suggesting right now?
I'm not saying we desert right now. I'm just saying we already know where to find Darko in Caleb. But we're going to let Grom go. That's a sign of good faith. Besides, he's working for this Darko.
He's also apparently a follower of this Scarlet King, who, if I read this correctly, he is threatening us with. Apparently, we will all fall under this Scarlet King's rule. I'm not too happy about
More
this.
of a promise than a threat.
If we are going to end up fighting with the Scarlet King, and the Scarlet King does kill every one of us, I'd rather have some bargaining chip to get on his good side.
He might not be a bargaining chip.
Well, killing him will certainly not have a bargaining chip in the first place.
It feels more like to me that this Grum is, if any, definitely not a close confidant of the Scarlet King. It doesn't feel like that. It feels like
Yeah.
this, if anything, he is a fanatic follower who the Scarlet King may not even know about, if the Scarlet King even exists.
He's not a close confidant of the Scarlet King. He is someone who might serve a close confidant of the Scarlet King. And Grom is more of an in rather than, an actual person of influence.
You realize that you're suggesting we just let him go.
He can be dead to it as far as the commander needs to know.
Sorry, what did you say?
He can already be dead as far the commander needs to know.
You want me to lie to the commander?
Well, let's just omit the truth. Is what I'm saying. We could take him out in the desert, live in there, and for all intents and purposes, that sounds like as good as dead.
Okay, out of character. Unfortunately for you, one of
Exactly.
the traits that I picked was honest.
Honest, I know.
I'm
This is exactly what I'm trying to attack at.
not trying to piss you off. I just want to make sure that you know. I'm not trying to piss
I
you
know
off.
exactly. I
But
know.
I will
I know
say, basically, no, I will not lie to the commander. I plan on following orders as he has said, or the only other way that you will be able to save Grum's life, because apparently this is your goal, is to do it by telling the commander exactly what's going on and get permission for us to take Grum to Darkhole. That's the only way that I can see that Grum will survive this night. If you do not agree, I'll kill him right now. Anyway,
Ooh.
fine, Maximus. We can do it your way. I still think that we can get something out of this either way. But if it makes you happy, Maximus, you know I always try to please you.
that brings a smirk to Maximus's face. If anything, Maximus recalls needing to please Cagus often, saving his life, making sure he feels less uncomfortable.
Keeping him safe.
Yeah, exactly. That's what Maximus recalls, but anyway, he'll let that one go. And then we will, I guess, walk back to the commander's tent. And we'll see what he says.
He
Is he still there, or?
is now inside. He hasn't actually unpacked anything. He's just got all of your bags inside the tent. And he says, "Is Grum of use?"
Grum can be of use if we keep him alive a little bit longer. He has mentioned a way that we might be able to get into or find the Library of Balestria. He did mention a contact who might be able to help us. We do need to find this contact, and I believe that Grum would be of great help doing that. If we have your permission to leave the camp and take Grum with us, we might be able to get you some results.
He thinks pensively for a second and says, if he's of use, keep him alive. Just know, depending on how long this takes, you'll have to find us on the other side of this mountain. You'll be on your own for a good while."
Understood. And then I turn to Cagus and say, anything else to add?
Oh, sounds perfectly fine.
Keep your uniform so we don't kill you on sight when we meet you again.
Aye, sir.
And
And then we leave the tent.
yeah, and he like turns back to his logistics stuff. He's as far as you're concerned, it's dismissed.
Oh, wait. Actually, that probably is one more thing that Cages would like to add or ask about. So, what
Alright.
do we do with Grom? Is he still?
We're
Should he
taking
still
him
be
with us.
treated? Yeah, should he be treated as a prisoner, or should we give him a uniform?
Anything that meets our goals. Giving him a uniform may help quell any suspicion or make you at least appear more threatening, having numbers.
Okay, sir. I know where to find a spare uniform.
Good. Dismissed.
And then we leave the tent.
A spare uniform is just like grabbing one off of a drying rack. It's like, that's fine
Okay.
now.
All right. So we go back to Grom
Mhm.
and we tell him the good news. You're now free. You can unbound your legs, but you're gonna have to like be taking orders from us.
And he,
I'm not sure I want to unbind him completely.
but he is smiling. He says, "I see you've come round."
Well,
Take us to
well,
Darkhole. Remember,
He says,
direct and blunt. That's my character.
right, right. And he says, "Fine, fine. Unbind me, brute, so I can do this."
Okay.
and I'll,
I guess
I'll
we
convince
have to.
Maximus. Like, look, right? You know, he's got to walk. So here, so let's just make it like a good arrangement. You be commanding officer. We take orders from you. And besides, you know, you're very good at dishing out discipline. So I don't think our friend here is going to have any problem with that.
You may regret this later, and we will unbind him.
And he takes a moment to stretch his legs, take a couple steps, do some squats. He relieves himself
Mm.
after apparently holding it for 3 days.
Wow,
Um,
that's one amazing bladder there that he's got. Superhuman bladder. Jesus.
Hasn't got a lot to relieve, I guess.
he's got.
Follow the Scarlet King.
Yes,
Your
that
bladder
much-
becomes stronger.
We can
Wow.
hold it
That's
indefinitely.
worth following an evil god for.
Yeah, his priests don't even own a toilet.
Cool. Okay, so we unbind him. Are you planning on going a lot longer, or
That was my question to you. Are you going to?
Yeah, it's already 10:30.
Do you want to leave like in the same day, or do you want to leave the next day?
we're probably gonna leave? We
It's like-
arrived here. It took a
it's like
day to come back,
midday?
did it not?
It's
Midday
past
or midday?
midday. It's like 4ish, 5ish in the afternoon.
Okay, in that case, can we do this early next morning and then leave early next morning as well?
Sure.
Like,
Oh.
I would not have wanted to
I was.
leave
Well, I
in
mean,
the middle
he-
of the day, right?
Yeah,
I would want to get an early start at like 8 or 9, right?
and it'd be good to give Grum time to get changed and
fetch
Yeah.
through the night.
have a decent night's sleep. Cool. So the thing I will leave you on is while you're preparing to leave first thing in the morning, other people are walking around doing their morning chores, complaining about nightmares.
Wow, that was fast.
Yeah,
Mhm.
just starts spreading, doesn't it?
It does.
Could be the books. Could be the book.
Could be a book we haven't opened yet, I suppose.
Hmm.
But anyway,
Cool.
yeah, that's it. So if you've been watching this episode, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Go check out Casey's channel as well. Casey,
Yeah, is that a questing GM?
cool.
Uh,
Yeah, okay, so thanks. We will see you later.